he was standing next to us as we practiced our vows, I did feel a strange attraction, so maybe I should...
Richard, I don't know where you get your obscene sense of humor from.
Sorry, and in front of the minister's wife, a pillar of the chapel community, I should burn in hell.
Mum and Dad were big chapel people. If only they could hear you.
I go to chapel. I'm getting married in a chapel. But prayers didn't save that, did they?
But my prayers saved you. At least now you're not hell-bent on leaving Mother Strike.
Prayers didn't save me. Finding Aunt Harriet did that.
Oh, you weren't exactly the first man to find her, were you? Her with an 8-year-old boy. Think yourself lucky that my Morgan agreed to marry you in chapel. This many a chapel would have turned her away.
Richard.
Ah, there he is.
Here.
The man of my dreams.
What?
Don't pay any mind, Morgan. Love has made him soft in the head.
All ready then?
Jonathan's ready. He's waiting for you to take him over to the chapel.
I'll get him.
No! You're not supposed to see Ankara before the wedding.
No, don't worry, I'll go get him. Jonathan.
Thank you for... Ah, who's a smart young man then?
Blood is thicker than water. Off you go then, the three of you.
It is for peace. I've got work to do.
So there you are, and Darren.
You go on, I'll be there in a minute.
So, you're going through with it then?
Of course.
So I suppose this new happy married man won't be coming to the union meeting next week.
It's my wedding day, Lewis. A union meeting is the last thing on my mind.
Right, so Anne-Harriet already has you dancing to a tune.
Nobody has me dancing to any tune. Not Anne-Harriet, but not you.
So, are you coming to the union meeting or not?
Are you coming to my wedding or not?
See you then.
You have a wife. Have you forgotten what it's like to be in love?
You and Lewis still planning to change the world?
I told you I'm done with all of that.
Shouldn't you be at the chapel by now?
Couldn't stay away from you.
Told you it's bad luck to see each other on the wedding day.
See you at the chapel then?
I told him to go before you came, but Richard was never one for listening to advice. If he listened to advice, there wouldn't be a wedding at all, would there? I will lie, I certainly did encourage it. But once he makes his mind up, there's no stopping him. He's the strongest man I've ever known. I'll give you one thing. He's changed since he's been with you. No more strikes, no fighting. But life's enough of a fight. You don't have to go looking for it. You get more than your fair share of knocks, right enough. As caught within the memories of those who lost, that's just the before the sting of angry hands of those you
I won't be drinking to any bloody master.
Crochet paid for the new chapel.
Yeah? And they're all the same. Bastards the lot!
Calm down, Lewis. We're here to celebrate my wedding.
Aye, and it's arguing much drinking.
Alright, drinking it is!
Hello, ladies. On behalf of your friend of the bridegroom.
I am a friend of the Lord.
Well, we're just here today to celebrate our wedding. And we all know you mustn't drink on a Sunday.
Sunday or any day drink is the devil's tool.
Now, remind me again, who was that fella in the Bible who turned water into wine? A well-known servant of the devil by the name of Jesus Christ!
Blasphemy is clear proof that the juice of the beer has added your brain.
And the juices, of course, have no doubt added mine!
Blasphemy and debauchery. You will all burn in hell.
We burn in hell for Shakespeare's furnace all day. Yeah. Why don't you take your nonsense to him?
Nonsense? We are all God's servants.
Ah, these are all good men. All good chapel men.
Drinking will damn your soul. It is a sinful curse. Put down the beer and you'll see the light.
Hey, speaking of stupid, Yanto, what do you call a minor with half a brain? I don't know. Paddy!
Ugly Welshman, just say they were stupid, Sean.
Who are you calling ugly?
Come off it, Tom. We're all drunk. But you have to admit, you are pretty ugly. And we'll be sober in the morning.
Probably ugly.
Saying it like this sometimes. So with an Irishman.
can't find out that I've taken you.
So, Crawshay, I heard a rumour that you paid money toward the rebuilding of a chapel in the town. I take it that was merely idle gossip.
No, yes, it's not.
Have you taken leave of your senses, man?
A token of benevolence goes a long way to earning the trust of the workers.
But a nonconformist chapel, an affront to the Church of England and to God. Worse still, the workers will see it as a sign of weakness.
This one's a stubborn bugger.
Aye, hard as you swing.
Looks like Mr. Crawshay's going to be down 3 grams of coal by the end of the day.
Right, but he won't be the one feeling the loss. He'll just cut our pay.
The price of food will go up. My wife hasn't eaten in days just so we can feed our children.
Yeah, I doubt Crawshay and guest table is short of their full plates.
With the current rising costs, we will need to lay off workers to maintain profit. Are you telling me you're not prepared to do that just to keep the workers happy?
A happy workforce is a productive workforce.
Productivity and profit are paramount. You can't cut your profit to keep paying them wages higher than you can afford.
Have you heard of Black Llewellyn? They came to his house, confiscated all his property because his wages are so low he can't pay his debts.
Hell, they tried to confiscate my property, but I wouldn't put up with it.
They'll cut the wages, they'll lay off more workers, and the families in Merthyr are just going to starve.
We need the power of the vote.
We have the power in our fists.
I've heard reports that some miners and iron workers who have already been clamouring for this insane idea of reform of Parliament are now being stirred up by this ruffian Lewis Lewis, demanding more wages and an improvement in working conditions.
Yes, so I gather.
That's where your benevolent gesture leads us, Crawshay. Give them a bone, and they want to tear your hand off.
I hear you've been stirring up trouble with the men down the shaft, then?
The trouble's already there. I'm just helping the men see that it's there.
Union talk at work, Lewis. You could have gotten us all sacked or worse.
When you were a boy, you led a strike. What the hell happened to you?
When I was a boy, I used to go scrumping apples too. I grew up.
Can't you see the hell around us? Small children with broken limbs, and men with broken souls, because they're condemned to see the world in ruins. I won't kneel to English bastards whose bare deeds reflect on our blood. Their hearts as black as the coal we dig up for them, so they can see our world in ruins. And here we stand in the ruins. How can you ignore what's happening and let men, women, and children be sacrificed to feed Crawshay's greed?
Calm down, Lewis.
This is not a time for being calm. The workers of Merthyr have been calm for generations. So calm that Crawshay Innes and all the other English masters have sat on their fat asses, making themselves rich on the blood and sweat of fools. See all the anger, I feel all the hurt, but I can't see how turning our whole world upside down can change anything. It's men like you who all turn their backs, who help all of them keep us on the run. My father was like you, and they broke him. And if we give up, he will have died for nothing. He did die for nothing! Are you blind?
He's a good man. His anger just makes him lose sight of reason.
But my husband has not lost sight of reason. Everything he says is right. There are children dying in Merthyr because their mothers and fathers can't afford to feed them. I don't know what I'd do if I lost one of my boys.
Best keep a level head then. Say goodnight to Jonathan for me.
Where are you going?
Union meeting.
Lewis needs someone there with a clear head.
It's just a meeting.
What next? A strike? A demonstration?
Maybe.
Richard promised me he wouldn't be part of it.
We're all part of it. The men fight for what they believe in. We stand beside them. He rushes headlong into things without a second thought. He's always fought for what he thinks is right. And that is why each single day I'm there to hold his hand and proudly stand beside him.
We need to get off our asses and do something.
Aye, we need to talk about reform of Parliament.
There's been enough talking. We need to make crochet and all the other toys shake in their boots.
Aye, when they're shaking in their boots, their feet simply stop snapping along the solid.
It's not a laughing matter, you daft Mick.
Angry words that he is no man's fool. His heart will rule his head, and that's not right. But when he may be wrong, I know he's going to care. So I'll be there beside him.
It's a matter of conscience. A man has to decide in his heart whether he cares about the people dying around him.
She's not well, but I'll go around and see her when we get home. It's best stay away tonight. She needs to get some rest. She is going to get better, isn't she? I don't know.
If there are traitors in this crowd who have sedition in their sights, they'll find that justice won't allow the treason they incite, and for each of these mad piteous fools, there will be no turning back. My path is clear, my duty rules. I must stop them in their tracks. I have followed the star of duty, 30 years left by the law. This country raised me like a son. I will not see it split by war. I have no time for treason. Each day is a battle to be won. Each day is a lust around the head. Each day is a victory begun. I've seen men like these before. Men like these will never learn that a man like me will never rest, and I'll be there at every turn.
Who's that man, Mum? I'm not sure.
His name is Jenkins.
Master of Buchanan Estate.
Aye, High Sheriff of Glamorgan now. He's been brought here by the Iron Masters to stump on so-called troublemakers.
Lewis, better watch out.
No. Lewis says the Masters are getting worried because they know that the Union's getting stronger.
What's I, Sheriff? Never you mind. Just make sure you stay away from that man, do you hear? Just stay safe. Always be safe.
Do you know him?
He's a man who thinks he has power. That's enough to know.
Don't be frightened, Mum. I'll always be here to look after you.
Oh man, what would I ever do without you? Jonathan, you have always been all I've lived for. God knows I'd give my life to protect you, but there are some things I cannot tell you. Best let things be. And now, Jonathan, baby, I can feel the life I want for you. The life I love, that's not. I'll come with you now. I'll catch you up in a minute. Inside my heart, believe all I could love. Dress my weak in black for it is. And now there's a man who can feel me. He's strong, honest, and kind. I trust my heart
beer dine you?
Beer and union meetings don't mix.
That's where you're wrong, Dickenderry. A meeting's the very time for a beer.
You take anything seriously, Sean?
I take drinking very seriously.
Is Lewis in there?
Aye, in the back with the rest. You best get in there before he convinces everybody to start a revolution before tomorrow's sun rises.
And what are you doing here? Not out playing with Megan?
Her mom says she's too old to play. And I saw the men coming in here.
Hasn't your mother ever told you to stay away from pubs and keep your distance from beers and whores? Well, she's half right. You should stay away from the whores!
Tell mom.
No, it's between me and you.
Why are the men shouting?
They're having a meeting and they're talking about things that make them afraid. And that makes them angry.
You never shout. Don't you ever get angry?
Yes, but I stop and think before I start to shout. I think it best you stay out of there.
I've been appointed a special constable to keep the peace. You watch your little boy.
Get your hands open!
That was a mistake, Richard.
You're damn right I should have hit you harder! You're under arrest!
You'll have to go through me first.
Get going, Abbott, before we knock your arse all the way back to Dallas.
So, Dickenderry, there's some fighting after all.
I never said I couldn't fight. I just choose my battles more wisely than you do.
Aye, want to be a special constable. A real wise move. And it's the Irish who say are all stupid.
There's no wisdom in letting the masters trample us into the ground without fighting back.
There is too much anger in that room.
There's too much hunger in that room. A man should think with his head and not his stomach.
No, a man should think with his heart. And let Crowshay and the other tyrants know that they've crossed a line, and that we will not stand for it anymore.
And what if they don't listen?
They'll have to listen, or we'll make them listen. I am sick to my stomach with a world that doesn't listen. I've tried to speak the words that I feel in my heart. I've washed my spirit in the blood of a nation torn apart. And when I felt the valley shake, I knew the grief, I felt the pain. I shouted from the hilltops. I tried to break the chain, but I was a lonely voice, crying in the wilderness of reeds, needing to be heard. One man with a lonely voice. No one saw the justice
Stand still for a minute and talk.
It's late.
Rebecca said she saw you earlier, said you looked as if you'd seen a ghost.
I have lots of ghosts. Just like you.
I'm not like Lewis, don't worry.
You care just as much as he does. The man I fell in love with has a heart as big as Dowley's ironwork.
Elizabeth?
He came to fetch Morgan. He's gone to Thomas Watkins' house.
Megan?
Just 7 years old.
I knew this was coming. Just 1 year younger than Thomas.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
What?
What if Lewis is right?
Please come quickly.
Ma, where's Richard going?
Back off to sleep now.
Why are you looking scared?
It's nothing. Are you happy?
It's all right to be scared. Richard says everyone's scared sometimes.
Does he now?
When I grow up, I won't be scared. I'm going to play Richard was when he punched down my rabbit.
I'll have no talk of punching and biting. Stay away from that. You hear? Just stay safe. Always be safe.
It's Megan, isn't it?
Isn't she?
I should have looked after her. I always look after her.
She's in heaven now. God will look after her.
All I ever wanted was to work, so I could feed my child.
We went without food ourselves so we could feed Megan. But when Crochet laid Thomas off, there was no money for even scraps of food.
How many more mothers have to watch their children starve in America?
Can't find no sense of reason, no justice that steals a child and chucks away life. What madness is this? Innocence left in ruins. How long must we stand in the ruins?
child's grave.
Just keep thinking. What if it was Jonathan?
It could be anyone's child.
I just hoped Richard wouldn't be dragged into a
I
fight.
think I want Lewis to be part of the fight. But I know that nothing will change for us without one.
Lewis was born to lead a fight, but not Richard.
Lewis knows he cannot lead any kind of fight without Richard.
I don't understand.
All these years, Lewis has been trying to rally enough men around him to do something, but not enough of them will ever follow him.
But all the men respect Lewis.
Aye, but they don't love him, and they won't risk everything they have to follow him. But you know what's special about Richard? Every man in Merthyr with a heart will follow him into the jaws of hell.
There's this fire in your eyes I've never seen before.
When I first came to Merthyr, I'd go up to that hill, and I thought the sky and the trees were so beautiful. But in the valley, there was a black hole, where people were being trampled into the ground so the masters could get richer on the blood and sweat of their workers. And I tore myself apart asking why. Now I go there and I see the same thing, and I ask why not. Things can change. I can make things change.
That is what Rebecca said.
Rebecca.
She said that all the men would follow you wherever you decide to lead.
I can't just do nothing. Not now, not with children dying.
There are children that will soon be living to... You haven't noticed. It's good to see you still smile. Like soft petals fall on a dragon's feet, you said bleeding, never demanding, watching you dance.
standing amongst men like us. What's a strange like you doing here?
It's not for you to question where I may or may not choose to be, Lewis.
How do you know my name?
It's Jenkins.
There's no need for a jackal of the law here on a day of mourning.
A day of mourning for some leads to a day of sedition for others.
Can't you show this girl's family a hint of respect?
I have every respect for their grief. The girl's death was a horrible tragedy, but it is my duty to ensure that the wrong kind of man does not use that tragedy to urge others towards revolution.
This was a funeral, not a protest.
Ever since the insane radicals started a movement for reform in Merthyr, I've had my eye on them.
Aye, one eye on them, and the other on the coins in your purse.
Hold your tongue! I serve the law and the law alone.
That may be the case, but I doubt you've ever sat at an empty table with a knot under your belly.
A word to the wise. Steer clear of your unions and reform meetings. No good can come of them.
I want to go home. My 15th summer already a woman in need of food to keep me alive. I'm trying to find something that wants some kind of affection. Too late to still be a child. Maybe I shouldn't have smiled. It's service to a master, so how can I resist? I was too young to know what there was for me.
The distant summer, the pride of my manhood, your flowing hair, the silky soft skin, inviting my eyes to imagine the prize that lies within. Pretending she wasn't a child, temptation driving me wild, the privilege of a master to take what he could use. Straw as a sheet, the bleeding fear at my feet. Passion was mine to
This was my
choose. I never
love.
thought it was
I
mine.
never thought I'd see in my head.
Just there in my mind, now wish I could find the fire of that summer again.
Now I don't want to remember.
Do I want to remember?
I barely remember.
I barely remember.
Night when I was
A memory I tried long to bury and hide. I don't know, dear.
I don't want to remember.
And cut off wages. And then crochet lays off workers. And then they confiscated our property and drove families out of their homes who were in debt, simply because they could not afford enough to put bread on their families' tables. Everywhere people are saying that Merthyr is the centre of the world of industry. Yet we are the ones in the dark mines and blazing hell of Cathartha, Downes and Plymouth. We put Merthyr at the centre of the world. So we are the centre of the world. And yet the masters languish in luxury while we starve and watch our children die. No! No!
This is madness. Lewis is calling for a war.
It's not just Lewis. Listen to the crowd. They all want to fight.
Jenkins has called in soldiers from Brecon. They are marching towards Merthyr. And more from Cardiff.
Richard, you have to talk some sense into Lewis.
Yes, violence is never the answer.
And what, do nothing? Like we've always done, look where that's gotten us.
Trust in the Lord, he will guide us.
You're prayers isn't going to save us now.
Someone must do something. Lewis is turning into a pack of vicious wolves.
Lewis is not to blame. The hunger and sweat of grieving mothers is not on his head.
If you were trying to stop this insanity, I will.
Your silence is louder than the screams of the crowd.
What you said any words now?
You haven't said anything since Megan's funeral.
I'm scared.
I want our children to know that what I did was right. Tell me not to go, and I'll stay.
Lewis needs you.
Yes,
No more children dying.
I love you.